Everybody's getting fired.
Oh no. It's Sean Windsor.
You're having a Christmas
podcast
tonight?
So it's not a Christmas
podcast.
It's a non-denominational holiday mixer. More inclusive.
Well, whatever you call it, it's not happening.
All right, it's canceled.
Hey, idiot, I'm looking right at you.
Okay, we're not doing it. We'll still do it.
This
Podcast.
is failing. I'm shutting you down.
You gotta give us a little bit of time to turn this around.
All right. If by some miracle you can
Get listeners to donate through Patreon.
your jobs are safe.
Done. You'll see, you're gonna look so stupid.
Then we'll finally have something in common.
God damn it, it's so mean!
You asked interrogative question around my face. It's gone.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now?
Hey kids, it's your old pal ML Elric preparing to celebrate New Year's Eve. Now, I'm not really a big New Year's Eve guy, not like Mark and some of the other ballers on this show. But I will not be going to see a bowl game with Michigan State, and Mark will not be watching Sharon Moore coach the Wolverines. So it's kind of a tough end of the year for both of us, although I think he's
Still a game.
he's kind of happy that Sharon's
Oh my God, it's really good.
sidelines. And we don't know where Sean is. He's probably watching
And I
a
can't
big
believe
game.
this new coach that Michigan hired. What a great hire that was.
I'll tell you, nobody saw it coming. I mean, if you saw it coming, seriously, well done, well played.
Nobody knows when we tape this. That's the best part about it.
Oh yeah. I mean, Jonathan Smith and
Yeah, right.
what the hell? I'm just glad to keep
Not that desperate.
that wonderful young man here in the great state of Michigan. And Erica, well, she's probably out freezing her butt off doing a story for WDIV, or she's maybe hunting down a bad guy. So we're kind of turning this over to our classics department. If you're a soulmate, we really appreciate you. Keep the show coming back week after week. You have access to our bonus episodes. The rest of our audience, the millions and millions of you, don't get to see these gems unless you part with as little as $5 a month. So what we've done is we've taken two of our favorite episodes and put them together for December in the D, because we're a great sports town, and two of the greatest sportscasters in recent Detroit history joined us to tell some stories about their career. Some stories you won't hear anywhere else. Of course, we're talking about Bernie Smilovitz and John Keating. So stick around, hear these epic tales, and then, if you're not a soulmate, consider being a soulmate so that you get these episodes month after month, and you don't have to wait for us to try and, kind of sneak out of town and bust something out of the archives. And there's another reason we come back week after week, and that's Mr. Luke Nowacki of Pinnacle Wealth Strategies. If you can't decide if a vocalist is a member of a group or not, or you believe that your glove box is the correct storage place for your birth certificate, should you really be trusted with something complex like preparing your investments to provide for you for the rest of your life? I think we all know the answer to that question. So when you sober up enough for your phone to recognize your face and unlock, call or text Luke Nowacki at 248-663-4748. That's 248-663-4748. He did the math, and Led Zeppelin is clearly a 4-piece, and Green Day is a 3-piece. Is there any debate about that, Mark?
No, not. Well, I mean, one person likes to debate it.
And how many people are in Radiohead?
And Radiohead? Well, that's a tricky question. Mainly 5.
Okay, well, Luke knows, which is why you should call him. Because the other thing that you find out when you call Luke is it'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc.
Bernie, you had a great career in Detroit, but you did take a little time off to go to New York, as many people in Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
What was that like?
On my last show, I showed it was like a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, it was funny.
It was.
Said it was painful.
It was. Well, I'll tell you what was bad. It was crazy because the news director had come to me and said, "If you do what you're doing here, you will own New York." Well, not really, because really what happens is New Yorkers are more stringent and hardcore about their sports than anywhere I've ever been and watched. So guys still do baseball. They do a lot of stuff that, I mean, we threw out in the mid 70s. We didn't do it anymore. But I think it was just, well, here's the other thing about it. I worked for CBS. At the time, CBS was, it was the 7th station in a 4-station market. So, you know, we were getting beat by the little rascals in the afternoon. But be that as it may, it got sold, and it was sold to Westinghouse. And Westinghouse, they make a fine dishwasher, but running a station, they don't know shit. But anyway, and I can say that because I don't know their dishwasher or anything. But they decided one night to take the top 10 salaries at the station and cut them off, just gone. Yeah. So the top 10 salaries, they took a tax loss for the year, and they said, we're going to bring in young talent, and they will grow with our product, and that's how we're going to do this now. So I had 2.5 years left of my contract of New York money. So it wasn't the worst thing that ever happened to me. I didn't want it to happen, but when you're going out with 10 other people, you're kind of like, okay, something else is going on here, right?
Yeah, it's not me, it's them.
Right. Well, you can say that, but it is you too. But anyway, about a half hour after I got home, Channel 4 was on the phone.
Sure. Well, but the thing is, you talked in the show about. I just think
it was a different way of that style of sportscasting didn't work for that market, and I think that's kind of what happened. You just have to kind of tip your hat and move on.
But you told us when you came to Detroit, you also got that hostility, and people weren't ready for that. And at some point, you won them over. Did New York just not give you enough time? Or?
I think so. Yeah. First of all, it's there's 8 to 10 million people in around there. So, I mean, what do we have in the city here? 650, 700,000 people. So, you have it's a very hard market to break into, but you got to go. Ironically, the night before it happened. I came back from dinner. I was walking back, and a guy walks by. He goes, "Hey, Bernie," and he walks over, and he was the consultant for the station. And I said, "How are you, Jim?" And he goes, "Great, great." I said, "How are things going?" And he says, "Fantastic." He says, "Everybody knows you're right on the edge. It's going to break through. Just keep doing it. Don't stop. It's the best." I said, "Oh, great. That is fucking great. Thanks." Go back, do the 11, come back in the next day.
Oh, no.
Next day, I do the 5, I do the 6, and as I'm coming back to my office, somebody standing there and says, "Your attorney is on the phone." And I went, "Fuck, it's 6:30. My attorney's still in the office?" Oh. I had never heard that. And I'm going to
he's calling from the bar, but
I'm picking up the phone, and in my mind, I'm thinking, this is it. They're moving me to network. I knew this was going to be the big one. I'm moving to network. And I pick up the phone, and my attorney says, "Bern, you've just done your last sportscast for WCBS." And I went, "Oh, my God, I'm really going." And he goes, "They've cut off the top 10 salaries. You're one of them, so you're out of a job." That was it. It was that hard, that cold. I called my wife. She says to me, my hand to God, she says, I said, "I have something to tell you." She goes, "I know the whole story. Been on the phone with Steve. We got everything. Everything's good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Listen, before you leave, can you grab a pack of Xerox paper? We're out of paper here." So there are newspapers out front of the station, photographers taking pictures of the simpletons that got hammered and gone, right?
Massacre, the Wednesday night massacre.
Right, they called it Anchors Away.
Oh,
boom!
You gotta love those tabloids.
Yeah, love it. Oh, yeah. So anyway, there's a picture of me on page 2 with a pack of Xerox paper under my arm going home.
Just tell them it's your separation agreement.
No.
But, you would have thought after all those years of covering sports, the worst thing that can happen to a coach is the GM says, "No, we're standing by him." And the next day, like, "We really want to thank Les Moss for his service."
I think what that showed me is the consultant didn't have a clue what was going on inside the building.
Well, how many consultants
they never do?
They just come and charge a lot of money. They could go back to the news
That's
operation.
the gig I want. So if anybody's out there and you need a consultant, I'm all in.
Yeah. You don't have to know anything. You just have to tell everybody what they're doing is wrong, and they should do something different, and charge them enough so that when that doesn't work, you don't have to worry about them not calling you back.
I agree.
Or they come back and say, no, you didn't understand what I was saying. Let's try it again. Here's another.
But I'll say this: the New York thing was great for my career. It wasn't great, but for my family, it was great because the kids were young enough where they were in culturally rich environments. And for one of them, he wanted to be a comedy writer. He went on to write for Letterman for 5 years and just sold a movie to Netflix and has 2 series on the hook ready to go. So that's phenomenal. And my other son was he went to Michigan, both went to Michigan, and he was a business guy and he loved it, but he loved also the media. So everything he's done since he came out of school was business. He went to the Ross Business School at Michigan and he's been terrific too. So culturally and learning their crafts, New York was great for them at that period of time. I mean, they loved it. They moved back here eventually, but we always went to New York and they knew exactly where they wanted to go. They took classes there. Yeah. My oldest, the comedy writer, did stand up at Caroline's when he was 13 on a Saturday night. So that was pretty cool shit.
Yeah.
Got his dad's balls, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was really good.
New York is just so tough. I mean, Bonds went there and couldn't cut it. Eli went there before you did and came back. You came back. I mean, I think they kind of think of us as,
hayseeds from the Midwest.
Yeah, exactly.
They do.
They
do. They are from
but you're
Detroit.
An East Coast guy.
Well, yeah, I'm right. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Washington, D.C., and just worked in Washington my first 7 years in the business. 3 in radio, 7 in TV. So 10 years I was there.
And our friend and former colleague Mark Santee is still in New York.
Mark's there too. Yeah, I hear from him. So doing great.
He's more a reporter than an anchor. And
he's not doing shtick. Let me say that.
Yeah, well,
it's hard to make 3 people found in the trunk of a car shtick. You know what I'm saying? In New York.
I mean, topless body found in headless bar.
Oh, that's always a winner, right? The best.
So but how many of those do you get?
Exactly right. I believe
headless body found in topless bar.
There you go.
No, headless torso. Was it headless torso or was it?
What
headless
is it, Mark?
body?
I thought it was headless body found in topless bar.
Oh, I might be wrong.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. But yeah,
who knows?
We all got the gist.
Yeah.
So, what were some of your favorite moments? What were some of your favorite?
Well, this is number 1 right here. This is it. This is. There's nothing going to top this.
And you thought we weren't paying him very much, believe me.
Yes.
Well, I love that you on the last day at Channel 4, you showed the video, which was kind of a new blooper of was it a falcon? Or a hawk?
Oh, yeah, at the draft.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Somebody got the bright idea of bringing 2 falcons onto the set because they keep the pigeons away from the statues and everything else, and they wanted to limit the amount of poop that was coming down on 750,000 people, right? So somebody brings them, and Kimberly Gill and I just sit there, and I'm watching, and that raises up his thing and fires out a stream of poop, and it was just unbelievable. I mean, that was probably one of my favorite moments. I think Steve Yzerman winning the Cup in Washington played great. Had he had undergone that.
Yeah, no need, the osteotomy.
Yeah, the way they shortened his leg or they made it longer. I can't remember what it was, but he was great. And he comes out, and I said, "How do you play like a 20-year-old after what you've been through physically?" And he goes, "Viagra." So that to me was the best line ever from Steve Yzerman.
Yeah, not a guy known for his comedy. No.
He's not doing stand-up at Caroline's.
No.
How many Olympics have you been to and covered?
1.
Just one?
Yeah.
Just Salt Lake?
Salt Lake City.
Really?
Yeah, just 1. But that's all you need, because I got an interview there with that guy that shaved the rings into his head. That was just. There'll never be another interview. I mean,
he spoke very little English, if any English at all.
That's correct.
And that was a fun interview to watch.
That was better for me. Yeah, it was much better for me because I'm not really good with it either. So, yeah.
Makes it tough to pick the bites, though.
Yeah, after a while, people they're waiting for the shtick at the end. Yeah. They don't even give a shit about anything comes before it because everybody has the same stuff. It's how you present it. Everybody has the same highlights. Everybody has the same interviews. Everybody has the same this, has the same that.
It's even harder today.
Much harder.
Everybody sees the highlights.
Yeah. But you got to, you do that, and then you have to make sure that everybody's taken care of in the audience. So,
when I listen to you talk about your family, the love and the closeness comes through. And I've always thought with those anchor jobs, because I think it's sort of like everybody who gets on city council immediately thinks they're going to be mayor. I think everybody who walks in a TV newsroom is immediately thinking, I'm going to be an anchor. And when you watch the people who do what you do, you're coming in right when your kids are coming home from school. You're working throughout the night. There's not as much downtime as there used to be. Then you're getting home probably when everybody's in bed or should be making their curfew. That just seems like such a difficult job to have a family life, a social life that while you're well compensated and there's a lot of rewards, there's a big sacrifice. How do you manage to
that's a great question. Well, I have no friends. That's why I'm doing this. I just want to meet somebody. I'm so lonely. So I have to give all credit to my wife, Donna, who passed away last October from a blood clot, and it just was horrific. And
everybody felt
everybody was terrible. But the people at 4 were great, and friends, and the kids. It's just still mind blowing to us. But we're trying to move forward, and we are moving forward, and we'll get to wherever we need to get to. And the one thing about Donna was she always talked. She was a Far Eastern philosopher too. She was a doctor. She's a TV producer, and then the kids are 14 and 12, and she says to me, okay, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Because the kids are out of here. They're with their friends. And I go, oh, well, what are you going to do? She says, so what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to play golf. What are you going to do? Because I didn't play for the first 10, 15 years while the kids were young. I didn't feel I could stay away that much. Yeah. So I said, I'm going to play golf. What are you going to do? She says, I've always wanted to be a doctor. I'm going back. So in mid-course, she becomes a doctor. So that all of a sudden became a house that was goal-oriented. You couldn't screw around in that house because, I thought I was a big deal, but I end up having a comedy writer, a doctor, and a private equity guy. Local sports guy, get out of the way. Come on. You're like, put him back in the closet. We don't have that. But she was in charge of all that. She was great. She was a former TV producer, so she knew what went into the job. If you had to leave for a week. I went to the Olympics. I spent 28 days in Salt Lake City. I'm going to tell you something. That is boring work, man. 28 days in Salt Lake City was killer. But, she's the reason. She really did the whole thing. Yeah.
And did you make time on weekends for your kids? Because as you say, when your kids get to a point, they want to be with their friends. They don't want to spend it with the old man.
I came home every night, every single night for dinner. Because there was no other time to see the kids. I slept in the morning when they got up for school. I was not there when they got home from school. They would do their homework. I was not there to help. She was there constantly. She was with them. And then at night we would have dinner and I'd be home for an hour and a half or so and then go back to do the 11.
A late dinner, probably. Yeah. 7:30?
7 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, every night. We used to watch Jeopardy every night at dinner and talk, and everything was great. And one time I came home and the kids went to Country Day. So I come home and we're sitting down and they start the game and we're kind of watching, and like he gets one and then the other guy gets one and then the kids get one and the kids got another one and they're going one after the other. I go, holy shit. So I turn to Donna and go, God damn, that private school. I was totally against it, but that's great.
You get your money's worth.
You get your money's worth. What I didn't know was they had taped the show and had watched it and were repeating every answer they had written down.
It's like Groundhog Day.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable.
That was a private equity guy who figured it out, right?
No question.
Okay.
You know that. Yeah.
That's why they're all licensed.
Yeah. But anyway, it's all Donna. She did all that. She was great. Wow. Just so badly missed. It's horrible.
No, I think everybody who knew you, even just a little bit, knew what a loss that was. Yeah. And it's great to see that, you're moving on. In fact, I wondered.
You mean that I'm breathing again?
Well, I just wondered when you leave the station, I kind of thought you would be one of the guys who wouldn't go because you work your whole life for retirement to spend that time with someone. And when that person's gone, all of a sudden, that's when you see people say, you're going to have to carry me out of this building because this is all I got.
Well, I never thought, we never thought that. We had already talked about what we were going to do down the road. And I thought, honestly, that I was done like a year and a half ago. And the next thing I know is they came in and signed me to a great new deal. It was for 6 years. And I was like, good God, I'm going to be 108 by the time I get out of here.
Right.
So, I signed it, but as it turns out, doing that helped me here because they ended up paying off everybody's contracts and stuff like that to leave.
All right.
They just wanted you out. They don't want those salaries. That's really what's happening here. So, as I said, Devin's going to leave, and I've been told the others are going to leave, and salaries are going to be restricted or lessened or cheap, whatever you want to call it, and then they'll figure out what they do from there.
Were you enjoying it as much as
I did. I love what I do.
As you did when you were young? Yeah.
It's not as big a pain in the ass it's more of a pain in the ass today because they're like, so many people now, you have so much less help. You know, when I started, I said we had 4 on-air people. I was the only full-time on-air person in sports. I was the only one. Jamie Edmonds was part-time.
Oh, wow.
Hobie was part-time. So I just did what I did with what they gave me. So, but now they're moving people around. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
it's better for me to be here with you guys.
I think at Channel 7,
I miss you, Sean. I miss you in the press box. Yeah,
at Channel 7 for years, I think their reporters and even some of their anchors were shooting their own video and putting their own packages together. Whereas Channel 2 still has 3 or 4 people and a producer and a full team.
I think that's coming. I think they're going to end up shooting their own stuff and editing and things like that.
What do you think of the new crop, like Galley and some of these folks?
Fantastic. I don't have a bad word about it. He's the nicest guy in the world.
I was just going to say
he's a sweetheart.
Great
he's
guy.
great, local. You know, I could help him greatly because I think he has personality, but I don't think he's. You know, you got to have people that want to play ball with you. If you don't have people, I worked in New York. Shit, they didn't give a shit what my name. They didn't care anything about it. We had a meeting before I started in New York, and the news director calls the anchors and said, 2:00, the news sports guy's going to be here. I want you to meet with him and just chat with him and stuff like that. And I said, okay. So I drive in from Westchester County. I park. I come inside. It's 2:00. Nobody. Well, I'll get here. 2:15. Nobody. 2:30. Nobody. 2:45, nobody. 3:00, nobody. And the news director looks at me and goes, well, sometimes it works this way. Nobody gave a shit. They didn't come in. Oh. They ran the whole show, whatever they wanted to do. So got back in the car and went home.
Wow.
But you have to have people. I love Galley. Terrific kid. Dan Miller's one of my closest friends.
Oh, we love Dan.
Dan is the greatest. He was at my house the next day after this happened with Donna. He's I have dinner with him probably twice a month. Just love him to death. He's just great.
It is funny. I've worked with a lot of people at the newspapers and at the TV stations, and there are very few people that I've worked with where I would say what you see is not who they are. You know what I mean? Like Dan, genuinely caring, generous guy.
Yeah.
Bernie, obviously funny on the air. Good guy here too.
Not
Charlie
true.
Langton.
Not true.
Crazy
so funny,
wherever you find him. Charlie LaDuff, crazy wherever you find him. You know, Maloney we've had on. You know, great guy. It's
great laugh.
Yeah, it's yeah. From no matter where he is,
right? Exactly.
In the middle of a blizzard or in the middle of a lake or at a corporate board meeting. But only guy I know from Maine who always has a tan like that. I don't know how he does it. There is something about maybe we are provincial, or as Mitch said in his column this weekend, quaint rustics or whatever term he used.
Right.
But I do think that people make a connection because they really feel like they know you, and of course that's really hard to do. But I don't see a lot of massive egos in TV. I mean, Carmen, who was the queen, was one of the nicest people I think I've ever met in or out of this business. Devin's a genuine guy.
But why shouldn't they be?
Fantastic.
I mean, what is being on TV? Big effing deal. Who cares? I mean, so this is a job. Yeah. That's why people are attracted, because they can see you do your job. If you're working at a deli, it's like there's no camera there; they can't see. But this is different. But you do, because you go into the most intimate places in someone's home, whether it's the living room, whether it's the bedroom. I mean, I loved being used as a nightlight while people were having sex. I mean, I knew it. I saw the whole thing happen.
I knew that was coming.
I didn't take it as a personal affront.
That was coming.
I didn't take it as a personal affront.
I'm flattering.
The great part was, at the station, they realized you could also shoot out so we could see what was happening. So it was even better for us.
Those
Not true, that part.
Those are the bloopers you'll find on Bernie's OnlyFans.
Hey, good.
Yeah, no, but I think people would always come up to me and say, you're much taller in person. I'm like, well, you were sitting down when you saw me before, they do feel a connection though. And
well, you are tall.
I'm not short, but
handsome too, if I may say.
Strikingly so.
Yeah, I would say.
I would too.
We have you on every week,
I
Bernie.
wouldn't.
But
what are you doing for lunch?
Golfing. But,
he'll be there as long as you pay.
It'll be different than some of the foursomes you saw while you're doing sports, looking back out through the camera. But it is amazing that people feel that connection, and I do think sometimes the reason people get a big ego is because other people think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And they start to buy in and say, well, it must be some kind of, big stuff.
Well, there's a finite number of those gigs too, of those jobs, especially in a market.
That's correct.
So not everybody gets to do it, or not everybody can do it. The other interesting thing is when you make a mistake, everyone sees you mess up at your job.
I always thought the most important thing to do is if you were in the studio talking and I screwed something up, is just to make fun of yourself.
Yeah.
And then I think people kind of go, well, that's a bit human. So I would do the sports for the morning and tape it the night before. And I'd screw up 3 or 4 times in it, kick a word. I never used a cuss word, but anyway.
But it's real.
It was real. And they said, do you want to do it again? I go, hell no, I don't want to do it again. I want to go home. Come on. What are you, crazy?
We would do that at Fox. We'd save all of my bloopers, which would always be, in a confrontation. So it was always, wait a minute, where did this happen? And at the end of the year, we'd do like a compilation, and they'd use that during the holidays to fill the blocks. But I always thought it was good because it showed people, we're holding people's feet to the fire and we're trying to be serious. But we have a lighter side. And there was one time at Channel 4 where they sent me out to do a story on Kid Rock getting engaged. And I was like, I'm the
how'd that work out?
guy. Yeah. And I said, what do I do? They said, just go out and do something. I'm like, oh, shit, I don't know. Okay, we'll go out to Macomb County, hit a couple bars and ask if they've seen Kid Rock. And Matt Triplett, who was running the assignment desk, knew there was a bar in St. Clair Shores where he would go. So we went out there and we did a couple things. And it turned it into kind of a funny story. And we put it on at I think 6 o'clock. And I remember after the package ran, Bernie turns to Devin and Carrie and says, Mel's doing shtick. What's this going on? And I also had a conversation with the news director not long. I said, you're doing so great. You're way ahead of where we thought you'd be, and then a month later, ahead of me, it's like, boom, we're not really pleased with where you are. We need you to sign this letter. I said, why would I sign this letter? This is, you could fire me anytime. I don't need to testify against myself. But
that signing letters is like the worst. I worked in 2014, what the hell was that thing called, Sean? They had the hockey game at the University of Michigan.
The Big
Toronto,
Chill?
Big Chill. Was it the Big Chill? It was a pro one. The Red Wings played the Maple Leafs.
I was at the Rose Bowl with Michigan State.
Yeah, it was New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
There's about 3 feet of snow coming down.
Snow coming, and everybody from Toronto coming. And I rode there with Mickey Redmond, who doesn't live far from me, came pick me up. And he was in his truck driving in a snowstorm, which was about probably should have been a 40-minute ride. It took us almost 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get there. And the entire way he was eating a bowl of cereal with the bowl between his legs. Just imagine Mickey just scooping up cereal. So we get there 5 minutes before we're to go on the air. We run down, we put our earpieces on, nothing's working. What's new on TV? Not a thing is working. So they go, okay, we're going to signal you by phone and tell you when to talk. Fuck, snow is flying, 108,000 people, insane. So we're going, we do the first block, the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the show, fine. And they go, okay, we're going to commercial break, see if we can get all this fixed. So they go to break, and I'm just standing there going, oh my God. So about 4 or 5 minutes goes by, and then 6 minutes goes by, and I'm like, God. I say to the producer who's standing there on the phone, and I go, anybody have any fucking idea when we might be back on the air? Well, guess what? We were on the air. Yeah, smarty boy. So I get a call from the general manager who says, you didn't know you were on. It's no big deal. It's no problem. I just need you to say sorry real quick, and that's all. I go, okay, no problem. I said, well, I may have inadvertently used a word, so sorry, blah, 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 blah. One person writes a letter. I was watching the game with my 7-year-old, and on the pregame show, you used a curse word, and it was terrible, and now I want to write to the FCC to take your license away.
Oh, God.
So I'm like, oh. So anyway, she comes down the next day, hands me a piece of paper and says, you have to sign this. And I go, I'm not, for what? You used a curse word and we got a letter and we have to say sorry to this guy. And I go, I'm not signing anything. And I look at it and I'm telling you, I was charged with war crimes. Honest to God, it was like, were you the invasion and this? And no, nothing. Anyway, I said, I'm not signing it. And then the news director says, you got to sign. I said, I'm not signing it. I'm not going to sign it till my attorney reads it. You don't need your attorney. I need my attorney.
That's when you need your attorney.
That's when you need your attorney. They go, you don't need your attorney. Anyway, it was like 10 pages long, tons of stuff in there, like nothing, but it was all about the game. So I said, I'm not doing it. So a lot of credit to them. They said, write what you want to say and we'll send it to them. I said, okay, that's much better. So I just said, I apologize, sorry, but the guy writes me the most beautiful note back and it says, hell, I was never going to call them. I love you guys. We're not going to do anything. But I had to go through this whole machinations because the holy grail in TV is the license.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. Once that's mentioned, you got them.
And it just takes one person.
It just took one person. Yeah, exactly.
Who wasn't even serious about it.
No, it was a 7-year-old kid. He goes, we were having such a good time and laughing at you guys in the snow. And then we hear, anybody got any fucking idea when we're back on the air? And I said, oh, that was me. Go ahead.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Did I use the F-bomb too many times here today?
Never.
Never.
No, we're adults.
Fuck, I'm so pissed. I wish I had.
In this studio, you're not even close to the Guinness record. It's hanging in the air like whatever that smell is. It's hanging in the air down here. This basement studio. Didn't Drew make $1 million a year at one point? Why are we in his basement? It's a little.
Is he upstairs?
He was. Yeah, he's upstairs.
Does he rent this place out for you guys?
No,
this is where he lives.
Yeah.
No, I mean the studio down here.
He makes the studio available for our purposes, which
that's nice.
Yeah.
It was great. And also I love the note I got from you. Here's the address to come to. And you come in this way and a big arrow on the picture of the house. Come down here. Don't go near the front door. Don't you go near anyone. Don't you call anyone.
Don't look at anyone.
Don't look at anyone.
No eye contact. Well, the problem is if you come in the front door, a few things could happen. Yeah. One is you'll be attacked by a dog that comes up to about your heel bone. 2 is Drew may be passed out watching True Crime in the front room. Or 3, he's preparing for the show and listening to the Beatles.
Oh,
yeah. So he's always working too.
Yeah. And rewarming some Dunkin' Donuts coffee in a styrofoam cup in the micro. I'm like, that's got to release so many carcinogens. Yeah. He's alive and well.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, he's good. So
they take it with cream and the carcinogens.
Carcinogens and cream.
I just assumed that was the styrofoam melting into the coffee, but it could be.
I just read this morning. They said that stevia or whatever the sweetener, artificial sweetener, they just did a study and it's brings on blood clots, brain tumors, and everything else. Much, and I've used this for
me too,
forever. I'm like, now what?
Yeah, no, with the aspartame and all that. Yeah. I'm just whenever I see artificial sweetener, I'm like, no. And I wonder about this Ozempic. There's all these people who are losing weight just to get some sort of horrible tumor. Yeah. The best way to lose weight is less food in your mouth and a little more walking if you can do it.
See that? Take that from the doctor.
That's it. Yeah, and I say that as somebody who owns some shares in Weight Watchers, which are going through the floor because everybody's like, why would I count my calories when I can just take this pill and feel great?
I know a couple of people that are on that, and it's good for some, and others it's not good.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. I was at the Jersey Shore about a couple of weeks ago, and wait, are we going to tell our story?
Yes, we started. So I was at the Jersey. Hear these stories.
So I was with a friend. Brian Williams has been a lifelong friend. We both worked in Washington in the early '80s.
You mean Brian Williams from NBC News?
Yes, the same one. And
you were with Snooki. No. Just Brian Williams.
The Jersey Shore reference.
Jersey Shore?
Oh, Jersey Shore. Yeah. No, not Stuck. No, Mike wasn't there. No, none of the tough guys. What's the other?
The situation.
Let me tell you the situation we had. So anyway, we were there for a week. He's got a beautiful house, and we're just sitting around, just me and him, shooting the breeze. His wife was somewhere, and nobody else was around. So we were there for about 4 or 5 days. And then on Sunday, he says to me, I'm going to drive you up to New York, and then I'm going up into the city, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So we get in the car, and as we're going down the street, here comes Chris Christie, who also has a house in that same little development or that little town. And he comes over, and this is the same day that Biden announced he's not going to run. And Christie comes over, and Christie did a bariatric. The
stomach staple.
Correct. Did the whole thing.
Trump was just calling him a fat bastard the other day in his speech.
I'll say this. That's the first time Trump has told the truth in a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's unbelievable. But he was great. I mean, it was just chatting him up. And he said she's going to pick Shapiro because she has to win Pennsylvania. So she's picking Shapiro. Forget everybody else, Shapiro. So I went around. Well, I ran into Chris Christie and he says, Shapiro. This is what I hear. Oh, for Shapiro. My son bet a little money on Shapiro.
Oh.
So anyway, very little. Anyway, so Brian takes me up to Newark Airport, and I'm coming. I looked at my phone all day long because that also was the period of time when Delta's everything went down because of the computer
crowd
glitch.
shock or whatever the hell.
Crowd strike.
Right. Crowd strike.
So I go, oh, fuck. Now, so I go through the gate. I go through the door. It says still on time. I take 2 steps. Delayed comes up. That was at 5 o'clock. At 11:45, they canceled the flight. I'm like, oh, fuck. Now I'm here. Everybody is screaming. Everybody's around. And a really nice guy comes over and he goes, I know you. I said, oh, yeah. Hi, nice to meet you. He goes, good. You going back? I said, well, not now, obviously. It got canceled. And he says, do you want to go back? I said, yeah. Why? He goes, I have a car. I go, nobody has a car. He says, I have a car. We have a car. Who's we? My wife and I. You can ride back with us. We're going to leave in 10 minutes. I go,
from
really?
Newark to Detroit?
Newark to Detroit in a car. So
at 11 p.m.?
11 p.m. So he says, and I'm thinking to myself, I said, let me just think about it for a second, what I have to do. I'm like, who are these 2 strangers, right?
Yeah,
so I text
you got to be that weird sex video or something.
I text
Bernie's bloopers.
I text the
they
kids.
want you to do the sports while they actually have sex with you in the
Oh, yeah. Take your pants off to start, right. So I texted with my kids, and I go, I got to ride, blah, 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 blah. You can't go in the car with 2 strangers. You're out of your mind. They're going to cut you up. They're going to leave you on the roadside. You've got grandchildren. You've got this. You got that. So I go back to him, and he says to me, we've met you before. And I go, oh, really? Where? And he goes, at Temple Israel. And I went, I'm in. I figured I could take those 2.
You're in the tribe.
Anyway, exactly.
Those 2.
So I want to tell you something. The nicest people, Emily and Mark Eaton. Look, I remember the name, from Troy. Terrific. She's a teacher at some high school, Athens. Is that right? Athens.
Yeah, Troy.
Anyway,
Athens. Sure.
She drove the entire way. Took 9 hours. We had 1 break for a 5-minute pee. It was unbelievable. Had to go to the airport to get their car, turn in the rent-a-car they had. She drove all the way, all 9 hours, 1 stop, and stopped at my house. And they said, we have to take a picture because, no one's going to believe this story. I go, no, I'm not believing it. But
I can't believe it myself.
But it worked out great. I was in bed and asleep by 9 in the morning and in my bed. And everybody else, they had no flight for me until Wednesday night. And that was Sunday. So
did you stay up the whole drive?
I slept for about 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm bad. I'm bad with that. People
I
are
am
like,
too.
oh, yeah, I'll keep you company. I'm like, next thing you know, I'm got my head against the window.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
hey,
But the other thing is, if you're tired enough, you're going to conk out.
Yeah.
It's just, your head does nodding.
Thank God she wasn't tired enough.
No, she was great. They were unbelievable. I was like freaked out how good
she was wired from having Bernie in her car. This is too exciting.
They were great.
It's fun.
But anyway, that's it. I drove back. I didn't drive. I just sat in the back like a lump.
Your passenger, yeah.
Well, now, Sean, we thought you might have a travel story that could compete with that. Do you want to concede before the first pitch?
No, I don't have what travel story do I have?
Well,
you were
stuck. Delayed.
I had a cube of cheese in the Delta Sky Lounge.
Yeah, that's a concession.
I'm not sure about those cubes. It kind of bothered me. They harden up quickly and stuff. Yeah. It's just never...
No, you're more of a slice guy.
I'm all slice. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love Jersey Mike's. By the way, this segment brought to you by Jersey Mike's.
Well, that's actually the place where people watch you doing your thing. Danny DeVito's there watching him make the sandwiches.
Totally.
It's just like
exactly
TV.
Right.
With,
by the way, thanks for the comparison to Danny DeVito. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
You're more successful. And you married.
No, I'm not.
You married
No,
better.
I'm not.
You married better.
I married better. My hair's better. How's
Absolutely.
that? Okay.
Absolutely. Now, I'm sure a lot of people remember you getting your hair cut on TV.
I did that once. I just felt you had to do things that were like crazy. I did that. I had my chiropractor I still have today, David Kirsch in Birmingham, did the same. Came in and gave me an adjustment on the air. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Yeah.
What were some of the craziest things you did, or maybe the most unconventional things you did, and which ones didn't work?
No, they all worked. I didn't say they were funny. They just all worked. I don't know. Much of what I did was just on the moment. It was just ad-libbing. I've been lucky in life. I did the one thing I would tell anybody that wants to get into this business, and I would tell you, go work in a grocery store because TV's heading south, baby. Don't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but is working in radio. Radio teaches you how to ad-lib and how to be ready in case there's.
Yeah, you're quick on your feet.
Correct. You have to be. So I think that helped me form into whatever I formed into.
Did you ever get pushback? Did you say, hey, I think I want to bring, well, if you bring a chiropractor and there's a liability issue and now does this constitute an endorsement?
I said this on my final show. Never once in 38 years did I ever get, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Just do it.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Unbelievable working conditions. That's probably why I was okay. That's why I got through it.
How long did you have your radio show? And why not do one when you were here? Because I feel like everybody does every medium now.
In Washington, D.C., you mean?
Yep.
Well, at the time, I was a young child trying to get into the business. And then I started doing, I told you I became the afternoon sports guy. And so it was sports 15 and 45 on the hour. I remember that. And so I would do it twice an hour. And then one time I got a call from the Capitol Center, and they said, we have a Muhammad Ali, I think it was Jimmy Young or George Chavalit, somebody, fight coming up in 2 weeks and tickets aren't selling. Would you like to have Muhammad Ali in the studio? And I went, it was kind of like when my youngest son said we're coming home for COVID with the newborn, and I was like, are you shitting me? Yeah, hurry up. So he came. And we spent 3 hours with Muhammad Ali because the news director at the time was a massive boxing fan, and he thought this was the greatest. And no matter what else
was the greatest, right?
He was exactly. Well, you're right. He said, "Just do it, and we'll stop whenever we run out of stuff." And we both were able to talk for a long time. He was unbelievable.
How old were you?
77. I was 25.
Were you? You must have been just in awe of him. And were there other moments where you were in awe of somebody you're talking to?
Yes, I was. Muhammad Ali was in awe. Yeah, that was an awe. Bruce Springsteen. I always loved Springsteen.
Was Stoney with you?
Stoney was up his butt. He couldn't get him. We couldn't get him out in time.
We only saw his shoes.
Yes, exactly. He was sort of breathing. I went to Brian Williams' daughter got married, and Brian and Bruce are really good friends. So so I met him and chatted with him, and he's nothing in person what he's like on stage. He's quiet, reserved. And Howard Stern's much the same way too. I met him, but Bruce was great. And then at the rehearsal dinner, they split up all the couples and couldn't figure out who to put Bruce with because everybody would be freaking out except for my wife, who told him, this guy has schlepped me to 75 of your shows. God almighty, say hi to him or something. So she was there. She was with him for 4 hours. He never left to take. Everybody left and mingled. He just sat there and she sat with him and everything. And somewhere in the conversation, she said to him, Green Day, Billy Joel, they're all doing stuff on Broadway. Have you ever
residency? Yeah.
Have you ever thought of doing a show? And he goes, no, my stuff doesn't lend itself to that. And 1 year later, he opened on Broadway.
Oh,
yeah.
So we all feel
you should have a
Donna
percentage.
did it. No,
she was a producer.
She was a reducer, right? Anyway, yeah, that was it. Wow. And that was not as great as Muhammad Ali. I mean, he was just a quiet guy. Muhammad Ali was Muhammad Ali on and off. He was
for 3 hours straight.
3 hours straight. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Wow. I have the tapes at home. They're in a box. They're
reel to reel.
They're reel to reel. Exactly right. So they probably don't even have anything left on them at this point, I would think.
I don't know.
77, 24, 77 to now would be 47 years. Probably not.
Get him to Peter Jackson. He'll fix it. The guy that did the Beatles stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if I'll write to him. Do you have his address?
Yeah, right. New Zealand.
Somewhere in New Zealand. Yeah. He's there for 9 years at a time. But, well, Bernie, it's great to have you. I hope you'll come back.
I'm not sure. I don't have any more stories. I've got nothing to talk about.
The bus doesn't come by here. Yeah.
No. Yeah, anytime. Just call me. I don't know if you heard. I'm
Troy.
retired and I don't give a shit about anything, so I'm coming here.
Well, we know how to get you. We'll just find some couple to say, hey, we know you. You get in the trunk.
Drive them.
We'll drop you off here.
It was the back seat, not the trunk, but okay.
Well, writer's embellishment.
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely. So, anyway, it was great. Enjoyed all you guys. You guys are terrific.
Bernie Smilovitz, great guy. The brief time I was at Channel 4, it was a pleasure to work with him. I always knew that it was time for me to get ready to go on the air because I'd hear the blooper music coming on the other side of our office when they'd start playing the all the stuff for the well, I guess it would have been for 11 o'clock, right? They got an early start on that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the holy grail for us. I mean, you just had to, it's funny. I came here and they said, well, do you have anything? I'm going to do this thing called Bernie's Bloopers. And they said, so I cut the first one and ran it. And the guy goes, well, there's nothing but funny stuff on there. I go, well, yeah, that's the idea behind the thing. So he kept going. And then I go, okay, so after doing that for a few years, I go, okay, I got to rename this. Oh, I know, we'll call it Weekend at Bernie's or whatever it was at that point. You have to just reinvent and reinvigorate the product. So you just rename it too.
Yeah, it's great. Well, I imagine you'll be doing something besides golf. And
I've met with a few people who say that they know that I have to come work for them. So I'll see when it happens. Oh man, I'll be here to announce it. I'll be here to pimp it.
Exactly.
And all 7 of you out there, get ready. You're getting it. Your fees now for the extra is going to go up to $10 because I'm coming here with a huge announcement.
We will definitely be taking a premium pricing plan.
I'll email to you.
Well, Bernie, I wouldn't be in a hurry to work for anybody else, man. I think you know what you're doing, and maybe somebody should say, Bernie, what should we be doing? A little consulting.
Oh, I like that. Look at that. Yeah.
We've already established you don't have to know what the hell you're doing when you're consulting.
Let me tell you, I just spent 38 years not knowing the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
Shit, you kidding me?
We're approaching 5 years not knowing what you're doing on this podcast. I don't know. We'll make 38, but depends on if Drew gives us those eviction papers he's been threatening. But Bernie Smilovitz, great to have you here.
Thank you much. It was great. Sean, great seeing you.
Good to see you,
Mark. Appreciate it. You were good.
No, thank you.
Great. ML, the next time we meet.
Yeah, they told me.
Or as Maury Povich would say, till next time, America. Not really America, just like 7 listeners here.
Just Connie Chung. She was paying attention.
I worked with, I can't believe it. That piece of video I showed on the last show with the mustache and the long hair and everything. Yeah. That was my first job on TV. The news director listened to me in the afternoon on radio and said, have you ever done TV? And I go, oh, yeah. No. Never. And he said, I'm the news director of Channel 5 here, and I think you'd be great. Would you consider it? I go, sure, come on over. So we come over, we do a little test, and everything was fine. And he hired me because he liked who I was on the radio. Yeah. And it kind of worked out, I guess, for all of us involved. But the anchor man I started with, he got dusted fast. And Maury Povich came in and was the anchor man.
Really? Wow.
Maury Povich, who was great. His father was Shirley Povich, who was a columnist for the Washington Post for many, many years. And Maury was a huge sports fan, so he really was great in helping me along too, and just keep doing, write funny, do whatever you do, be who you are off the air, be on the air. That's the hardest thing for TV people to realize, and then you have to break the wall, which is the hardest part of all of it. Once you lose the idea of being self-conscious, it's a pretty easy gig.
Giving away all your consulting tips.
Can we get that? Can you edit that out for me, Mark? Just that part.
That'll be for our $15 a month Patreon subscription. Bernie, we're cutting you in on the action, man.
I'm all in. Yeah. I've always thought maybe I could get a Bernie Smilovitz School of Sportscasting, and they had all the 10-year-olds and teach them how to say fuck and shit and they suck, and they just do it like that, and then send them home to their parents, for a nominal fee.
No, they do it on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing that grouchy guy probably didn't know. That 7-year-old had heard that word before. He knew it.
True.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
He just put it on Bernie. I heard it from his.
Yeah, exactly. No question. Anyway, it's been great. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, Bernie.
Appreciate it.
We've just finished a terrific conversation with John Keating on the show. Sean was going to tell us a story that could be career ending, but John's retired, so it's all bets are off, right?
You can't hurt me at this point.
No. John and I got to know each other back in I don't remember the years exactly, but back in the Leland kind of Cabrera, Verlander days. By the way, John, those were really fun clubhouses, weren't they? The team was great, but wasn't it fun in the clubhouse?
They were, and Leland made it so, and the stories about Jim Leland and controlling the players, and that's why the team became good, was because of Jim Leland's influence. And they've told the story, and I've shared this in the past, that he would come in and he did it in Pittsburgh and he did it in Detroit, and Sean Casey came over to become a Detroit Tiger, and Leland came in after a particular loss because they had lost a Paul Bird. And so Brandon Inge and others have shared the story that, it's like, Paul Bird, he's an American Legion pitcher. You lost to Paul Bird. He should be in the American Legion. And would flip over a table, and then he would storm out, and Casey would say, and the guys would start to get up, and Casey would say, don't get up. He's coming back. And sure enough, here comes Leland. He would go away and come back again just as mad, if not angrier, and then go off again and try to get everybody's attention because they were heading to the airport. And so the players knew what they had. And then the next day, Jim Leland had the ability to reach each of those players. And he did it almost every day. Talk to players on the field, just walking around, making sure they were okay, family was good, all those kinds of things. And that stuff stuck with all the players that have talked about Jim Leland, now a member of the Hall of Fame.
I know what my least favorite Jim Leland moment of all times was, and it occurred in Boston. But my favorite one, I think, when you mentioned Sean Casey, is when he tried to defend Sean Casey as being fast. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, you know what, Coach? You can tell us all kinds of stuff that we know you probably don't believe, but Sean Casey being fast, I don't think so. Great.
He got
hitter.
thrown out at first. Right?
Yeah,
he got thrown out at first on a base hit to the outfield.
Yeah, I mean, great hitter, but Wheels, the mayor could not
gaslight
move.
us. Yeah. You had to be on your toes back in those days in that clubhouse, so right, John? I remember I was standing at Brandon Inge's locker. This was in Kansas City, and Leland walked by just in his underwear. And maybe, for some, maybe it wasn't a prettiest sight. And Inge looked at Leland and then looked at me and a couple other folks standing there and said, I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. And he just...
Because of you or Leland?
Well, no, I mean, I had clothes on.
Oh, okay.
If I didn't, it would have been the same reaction. But yeah, no, it's... But what I remember about John is just the jokes he would tell, especially beforehand. And back in those days, the clubhouse used to be open all the time. And so you were in there a lot. Even if you didn't want to be in there, you kind of felt like you had to be in there. And John had some nice salty jokes. I can't remember any of them specifically, but I remember thinking, this guy's kind of fun.
Cheating after dark or cheating off mic? This is
cheats after dark. But he did like to tell a spicy joke. You remember that?
I do. None of them come to mind anymore because I'm good now. So I've turned that corner. But no, I'm kidding. But we had Todd Jones, the former Tigers reliever, the roller coaster, as Ernie Harwell dubbed him on our podcast, and he shared the story of in that 2006 season he decided to stay with his son after the game, sleep in the clubhouse, and so there were they made up the couches, and so they're playing catch on the field, and downtown Detroit was electric, but then they left the lights on for him, so Alex and Todd Jones could play catch on the field at Comerica Park, and they went back into the clubhouse after that. And Jim Leland liked to stay overnight as well, and so he said they're in bed. The lights are off in the clubhouse, and all of a sudden the lights pop on, and here comes Leland, in his tidy whities from his office where he had a couch, and he wanted to talk, and just so he lights up a heater, and so he's entertaining Todd Jones and his son with the stories until about 3 a.m, just talking baseball, and I think Sean, you know this, that back in the day, guys would stick around after the game and talk to each other about what had transpired and have a beer. I don't think it's that way anymore, and it's probably an aspect of the games that is missed.
Oh, no. Yeah, no question. I mean, he was surrounded by trying to think, Gene Lamont, right?
Gino. Sure, yeah.
I mean, just these kind of old baseball storytellers. And you're right, they'd sit in there and
Lloyd McClendon was there, and
Yep. And Leland would fill up his office with cigarette smoke, and you'd just sit. And sometimes he might start singing. He had actually a very good singing voice. Yeah.
I feel like that's a total 180 from what Scotty Bowman would have been like.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Scotty didn't care for me because of I like to have fun on the air, I think, and we've been fine ever since. But at the time, I think he watched and knew everything, and of course he's told the legendary story about giving a goalie stick to the person at the door at the hotel and asking the players to sign the goalie stick on their on their way back in. But then that was his way of checking curfew, and so basically he could look at the list of players and they would be fined the next morning because they were out later than they should have been. But that was Scotty. But he was so attuned to everything going on around the team, and that's why he's perhaps the greatest hockey coach of all time.
Do you find that the coaches who associate with the players or who are the kind of the disciplinarians, the Bowmans, the Babcocks, those guys, that they're more successful? Is it their style, or is it the makeup of the team and how it connects with that particular personality that's more important?
Yeah, it's the makeup of the team. I mean, you have to have touch and feel. I mean, for all of these. I mean, we just talked about Leland just being a disciplinarian, and everybody has seen the video of him going off on Barry Bonds back in the Pittsburgh days, which is just sort of legendary. But he and Bonds were fine after that, and in the same in Detroit, he would let you have it, but then it was all forgotten, and then the next day he was fine and he had moved on. And I mean, you have to have people running the teams. You have to have touch and feel for your ability to get. It can't be. I don't think it can be the same for every player in your dressing room or in your clubhouse. You got to know how to manage people to get the best out of them, and everybody has a different sort of trigger or switch to get there.
Well, of course, it's easy to get mad at Barry Bonds because he had a big head. Then it was just literally figuratively.
What was the most memorable line of that rant? This is, I'm the fucking manager.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because I'm the fucking manager. That's why. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And didn't he have Sid Manji? Speaking of speed merchants, trying to get home from third.
Sid Bream.
Sid Bream, maybe. Yeah. No. Sid Manji was the American Legion pitcher, but coming out of the bully. But
Sid Bream was the slowpoke who I think scored a game-winning run all the way from first. He might have been with the Braves then, or I don't know.
He either scored it or he kept the Pirates from winning a World Series because Leland had some real close calls with the Pirates. But one of the things, and you and Sean would know this way better than I, but if Leland got mad at people, it didn't seem like it was performative, but he could win them back. Whereas Scotty, it seems like, was probably, playing games with these guys all the time, trying to keep them on their toes. Is that true, or do they do what they need to do when they feel it'll be most effective?
Yeah, I mean, as far as Scotty had the ability to figure out what had to be done. I think, and the teams obviously responded to what he had done, and when he came to Detroit, all of a sudden everything changed. He was the perfect fit for that group of players that needed that. But within the guys, he was terrific. To the media, remember, Sean, they had a clock in the Red Wings dressing room that you only had this much time to talk to the players, and when the clock hit zero, everybody had to be out, and he was the scorekeeper in terms of that, and just an ability to and that was his way of protecting the players, and now the players, I think, are even more protected, but Scotty was able to do that way back then.
Like a lot of coaches, I remember talking to Scotty after a couple times for different stories, after he retired, and it was a lot different experience. And that's true. You run into Leland now down at spring training, and I mean, he could always be really charming and affable, but he always had an edge to him, and he managed. And he was always aware he was talking to the press, right? But if you talk to him now, and I'm sure you have, John, since he retired, it's a very different experience. And
one of my great delights was getting to Cooperstown to be a part of his induction into the Hockey Hall of Fame, and hear the players that came back for him, to see them again. In that setting was a great delight. And of course, Jim was overwhelmed by it, and he had the ability, as stern as he could be, more often than not, you would see him, if you got him talking about something that hit home with him, talking about growing up or family or the things that he had witnessed. He would cry pretty easily, and we saw some of that in Cooperstown. So that's the spectrum that you get from a great manager, a great leader like Jim Leyland. But to your point, Sean, about telling spicy jokes, it was our thing, I think, where if he saw me in spring training and now in retirement, he would walk up, wouldn't say hello. He would just break into a joke and tell the joke, deliver the punchline, and then walk away with his shoulders going up and down, giggling at his own joke that he had told me. Not a hello, not just tell me the joke, deliver the line, and turn and walk away with his shoulders going up and down.
I guess I can see Leland winking at you guys every once in a while, like, I gave it to him this time. I can't see Bowman ever doing that. But one of the all-time great ciphers, I think, of Detroit sports is Steve Yzerman. And I know when he was getting ready to retire, Sean went through all kinds of machinations to get just a few minutes with him, and barely enough time to build a rapport, let alone break down somebody's guard. Do you have any insights into Yzerman? What makes him tick? Why he's kind of, I guess I would say, aloof to be kind, or standoffish to be maybe less kind? But
my
more
own
accurate.
read on that was that when Scotty got there, he kind of pulled Yzerman aside and said, "You need to be this. You need to do this." And so my understanding is that Yzerman was a fun-loving, affable, captain, the kid who had been handed the captaincy at a very young age. And Yzerman was sort of molded by Bowman it's like, you have to be tougher. And so I guess a couple of my memories are, Chris Chelios comes over from the Blackhawks, and he is in absolute deferring to Yzerman, just sort of, and same with Brendan Shanahan, as tough a guy as the NHL has ever seen. Just like, well, you don't want to get on Stevie's bad side, because they and Draper would do the same thing. If you could get a look from Yzerman across the dressing room, if you were talking too much to the media, if you were in front of the media too much, it would be something that that Yzerman would try to rein you in, pull you back into the team a little bit. And that's what made him one of the greatest captains in history.
John, what about non-sports celebrities? Now most of the time they just pop up in the booth during a game, but I got to imagine maybe pregame or postgame you've had run-ins where it's like, hey, John, you got to interview blank. Here you go. Here's all we know about him. Did you ever have any of those run-ins?
All right, here's the story you want, Mark. So it's the it's the Dave Coulier Celebrity Hockey Classic at Joe Louis Arena, and so we're gonna carry this live. And Dave Coulier brings in a bunch of celebrities, but the list was ever changing. And so Ken Daniels was going to play in the event while he was doing play-by-play, and I was sort of the host, sort of filling in the gaps. And so they would, I remember, it's like they would bring in celebrities, and I would interview them while the play is going on. Those that weren't playing but came to support the cause. And so Leanne Rimes was one of the people that came in, and she was lovely, and I interviewed her, and so. But
she was 9, 8, and 5. List, I heard.
The list of people that were coming was I guess malleable. It was ever changing, and so. In my ear, they just say, all right, so here comes so-and-so. And I have not a clue as to who this person is. I mean, I want to do homework. I'm trying to do homework on all the people that are coming in.
It's little Squeezy from the band Roustabout.
It was who? So this person comes over the railing and sits down next to me. And so just like, all right, Keats, go. Well, I don't know who this person is. I don't know what they're famous for. And so, what are you working on these days? How's it going? How much of a hockey fan are you? what's next on your horizon? Well, I was able to determine, with my first 10 questions that this was a person that was a cast member on Party of Five, I think at the time, which I didn't watch.
Scott Wolf.
But I had no idea who this person was, and so I'm just in this hole trying to crawl out of. I'm live, and I have to fill time for this hockey game that's going on behind us, and be as polite and thankful as this to this person as I can be, because they made the effort to come and support the cause.
Well, you'll hear directors say never work with children or dogs. And when I tell my journalism students, like, the worst interview you'll ever have is a child, because you'll talk and say, wow, it looks like it's a great big carnival. That's a lot of cotton candy. How you like it? And be like, go away, or you're mean, or whatever.
I like turtles.
Yeah. Do you? Right. Well, after the Pulitzer celebration, remember Jim Schaefer's kid kept saying, "I like cereal" over and over again. People are making speeches. We're like, "What? It's okay. Let's make sure that Ritalin prescription gets refilled, and maybe double the
Sean
strength."
Can relate to this. Yeah, we've had players like that just didn't want to play along, and so you're pulling teeth to get that person. I won't mention his name, but there was a pitcher for the Tigers a long time ago, and so we're in Colorado, and I needed something for the next day's pregame show, and so. And it was stuff, something simple about, tell us, what you eat on the day of a game, or how do you pack, or something like that on a road trip, or something like that. It had nothing to do with, how that person was doing or what was going on with that person. And the next day, that pitcher started in Colorado against the Rockies. And so, as can happen to starting pitchers in Colorado, it didn't go particularly well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the next day, or a post game, I walk in to do the post game interview, and I got the finger pointed at me. Come on over. I will never talk to you again, because he believed that I was the reason. The day before, having talked to me the day before, was the reason it didn't go well for him in Colorado, and I couldn't get this pitcher to get past it. I mean, it's like. All right, and we got to the point where, look, if I did something to offend you, I apologize. I'm sorry, but let's move past it. He wouldn't let it go to the point that he tried to poison the rest of the clubhouse.
Oh wow!
Don't talk to that guy. It's not going to go well for you. And so, that's a memory that sort of stings even to this day.
That's how I think about a lot of those teams. Of that, I don't know exactly what area you're talking about. It's funny because Leland was fun. And obviously he could be, irascible, and he would use us sometimes to make a point. He would get mad at us sometimes to make a point to even his players, right? He was a master in all of that. But the clubhouse itself with the players, there were a lot of very difficult personalities in that.
Well, the first one I think of is Miggy. I mean, we love Miggy as a player, but
he was nowhere near the most difficult. John will tell you that.
Did he have Dimitri Young too, or was that Trammell and Osmus? Because he seemed like he and his brother seemed like they'd be a handful.
Yeah, Dimitri was
and Gary was Sheffield and stuff.
Yeah. Sheffield was okay.
He was okay.
Delman was tougher. Delman wasn't particularly fond of doing interviews.
No, Victor Martinez didn't like to talk, and
And Victor was very. I mean, if you could get Victor, he was great. I mean, but he, some guys just didn't like it, and especially from our standpoint, it's like, look, we have to fill a half hour. I mean, we need to get guys. You're running through, and they all look at me like the Barracuda because I'm going through the clubhouse looking at, all right, can I get you on this? And after a while, you run out of. Questions for Brandon Inge and Alex Avila, the usual.
Those were the two that were talking. Then later, Torrey Hunter, right?
And half the guys
Torrey Hunter
speak
was
Spanish.
Johnny Damon was on my.
He was
list,
good. He was good. But then I remember in Oakland one time, and Prince Fielder had to be separated from a couple of reporters, and the PR guys kind of got stuck in the middle. Yeah, it was intense. Or you'd walk in and Lynn Henning I love Lynn Henning, but sometimes you'd walk in and Lynn Henning would be getting into it with somebody because he asked pointed questions, and I always thought he was fair. But yeah, it was volatile. Those years, it's very, very different right now.
I'm surprised baseball would be that way, considering you see them so.
Oh, it was my. I don't know about John, but easily my least favorite place to go in terms of trying to talk to players. They just, even though they were great for our readership because they were really good and they were colorful, but it was like combat going in there a lot of times. It just wasn't. It was stressful.
Maybe, because we were a part of the team where we were around, a little bit more, it wasn't as bad for me. But I mean, Verlander was always great. Pudge was great if you could get him. Torrey Hunter obviously was great. Scherzer was terrific. The closers were always good. One of my favorite stories was Jose Valverde, Papa Grande, when the Tigers were in Boston, and the game ended and he wasn't pitching. There was another kid that had been called up that was closing it out in the ninth inning, and the Red Sox rallied to win it. And so we go into the clubhouse, and the kid's got his head down, and he's bummed out because he let the team down. And Valverde just kind of, I'm standing in sort of in front of him, waiting for him to look up, and Valverde just kind of whistled at him and just kind of said like this, like, stand up, you got to take it. That's part of the gig, and just kind of winked at me, and just kind of let him know that you got to talk after a game that didn't go particularly well. That's part of being a closer or a finisher in baseball.
Wow. Well, it's great to get these insights, John. If you want to hear more of John's stories, you can check out Ozzie and Keats. Sounds like he had Todd Jones recently. If you didn't hear our regular show, he had Mike Vernon on, one Hall of Famer with perhaps a soon-to-be Hall of Famer, talking to Keating, who's in our Hall of Fame, which is much better than Rob Walchick's Hall of Fame. You don't want to
I don't want to be there.
You don't want to get in that one.
Yeah,
but
right.
John, thanks for joining us. We could talk all day about this, and we would, but I think you got to get another sunset picture going.
Yeah,
or something.
keep those sunsets.
Yeah,
going.
we do. Yeah,
but we will have you on again, maybe to celebrate World Series. Maybe not the Stanley Cup, Super Bowl, but good things are coming. Maybe that Spartan National Championship in hockey, basketball, or football. No asterisk.
How about go Irish? How about that? Go
Yeah.
Irish. Two of my kids went to Notre Dame, and all my money went there. So
I was going to say.
I saw that you were at the A&M game. Which
0-2. That's a tough start with two good games.
What a heartbreaking that A&M Notre Dame game was. That just sucked.
It was. We went to the game the game last year when they lost to Northern Illinois, which we thought was the death knell.
The Huskies.
That was our anniversary, and then I went to the A&M game this recently, and they lost by a point to a missed extra point in the final couple of minutes. So I think I'm banned from Notre Dame Stadium, and I understand that.
Well, there's room for you at the Big House.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to come by, we'll take you.
All right.
And you're welcome here anytime. So John Keating, legend.
Thanks, boys. Great to be with you.
Thanks for being with us, and thanks for supporting us with your Patreon donation. Please tell your friends. We got more coming. Thanks for being one of our soulmates. Okay. And Cyrus, take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Light the candle.
Merry Christmas, bitches! Right down the chimney, folks! Yeah!
Greatest
podcast
ever. #open bar.
Who are you sending that to?
Everyone in
Detroit.